I don't know about you, but when I think of childhood meals, I think the quintessential childhood meal is grilled cheese and tomato soup. There's something about it that's just like, even if the tomato soup is coming from a can and the grilled cheese just has Kraft singles, you know it's gonna be the one of the best meals. It feels like it warms your soul, in my opinion. And today's episode is really highlighting that fact. So we're gonna get into it. Today we're making grilled cheese and tomato soup, and it's honestly simpler than I thought it would be. I'm really excited to get into it. The grilled cheese is obviously super simple. We're going in with, as I stated previously, I wasn't giving it any hate because we are having Kraft singles, because I genuinely don't feel like a grilled cheese is right without it. Like, I've had the ones with cheddar cheese and like all of the mixes, and it's just not right. It needs the Kraft flavor. So we have Kraft singles, fresh sourdough, obviously butter, and fresh mozz. I'm gonna chop up the mozz, and that's gonna be what we layer the sandwiches with. Wrong drawer. I'm gonna make the slices pretty thin because I don't want them to be like big blobs of cheese. So while I chop this, I'm gonna talk to you guys about something that is a little bit, I guess, emotional. Well, I shouldn't say I guess. It is very emotional. To me, I have worked through it a lot, so it's not so triggering to me. But I do get a lot of questions about it, especially since I've mentioned it a few times on the podcast. And so I thought I'd give you guys a little bit of a rundown on what foster care was like for me, why I went into foster care. I'm not going to get super into it. I'm sure I will be here for quite some time, so you'll have more than enough time to hear about all of the horror shows, the horror stories that went on in Nat's childhood. But we're going to talk a little bit about briefly what the gist of it is. So I was born to parents that were wild. They were wild childs. Like, my dad was like living my dream. He was like 20 in the 70s. So he was living his best life. And he honestly didn't stop that as he grew older. He just continued to be a wild child. And so that meant he was, I'm not going to dry snitch on my dad. So I'm just going to say, if you had certain needs, he could make sure those needs were met. All around the town, not just the town, all around, like, low-key the tri-state area. He was very well known for it. So that played a big role in it. And then also my mom was a drug addict. She didn't start off as a drug addict, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure she was like having her fun, especially being with my dad. But obviously I ended up in foster care, so things did get pretty hectic. I do feel a little bit weird talking about that, which I shouldn't. There are reasons that I should not feel so weird about talking about that. But I do feel a little bit weird about talking about it because, like, I don't know, it just feels kind of weird to like talk about somebody else's experience. So I can only tell you about their experiences through my own lens. And I was, trigger warning here, I was really, really abused. Like, I was in a really, really unsafe and dangerous environment, sometimes often bordering torture in like really crazy ways. And yeah, like I said, we'll probably talk more about that. But I wasn't protected. I feel like that's such a big part of motherhood, is protecting your children. And I didn't receive that type of mothering. So I was often in really dangerous situations. And by the end of it, I had experienced some pretty crazy things in my life. Sometimes I was making runs when I was in like 7th grade. And that's fucking nuts. There were times, like, obviously I saw my mom nodding off. That was like frequent. That's like a no-brainer. But yeah, there was like those types of situations. And then I went to live with my dad in the end of I went to live with my dad in 7th grade. And that's when things got really, really bad. I was forced to do all of like the labor. So I was cleaning the house all the time. And that was like a common thing like in my childhood. But 7th grade, it got really crazy. I ended up being homeschooled for a little bit, and that's when like things got really, really bad. It was also really bad for my mental health because I loved school. It was like my escape from things. And so I started homeschooling, and I got even worse. I started doing like really bad stuff. Honestly, stuff that led me to probably like where I am now and like the job I chose. But yeah, getting homeschooled really was where things went super, super downhill. And I ended up getting like a house visit from child services. So we're gonna go side note right now. To get the grilled cheese started, I'm going to melt some butter in this pan. I already have like the stuff on the bread, so I don't have to like spend time spreading all of that out. But we're gonna get the grilled cheese started. Basically, I'm gonna melt the butter, and then I'm gonna put the bread in, top it with cheese, second slice of bread. Basic grilled cheese methodology, you know? So if you've ever seen it done, that's what's happening now. Now, back to the story. Child services ended up getting involved. I'm not gonna explain exactly how child services got involved. I'll just say that through another family member, things had to be investigated a little bit more thoroughly. So every once in a while, a caseworker would come over. It was usually Kim, I love you. You know I do if you're watching this. I love you so much. But she was coming to visit me before I even knew I was going to be in foster care. I knew I should be in foster care, but I didn't know I was going to. And she came for a visit that wasn't for me, and I had burn marks on me. My skin was like pretty like heavily messed up and like peeling off. I already said trigger warning, so yeah. It was like peeling off. I won't get into the nitty gritty of why that was happening. I just was burned by an adult in a very like heavy way. And so whenever they came, I was like, I really need something to happen at this point. And so while they were like talking to me, I was kind of like pulling my shirt down a little bit, like kind of like trying to show them without without purposely like doing it. I was trying to be inconspicuous. And so I'm not sure if that worked, but my brain likes to believe that it did work, because a little bit later we went to a visitation at Children's Services. And during the visitation, we were called into like a different office, and my caseworker, what would become my caseworker, she pulled us to the side and she was asking us all these questions. And like I said, I was not going to be the person to tell, because that was just, if you're in an abusive situation, you don't tell. It's just something that ends up happening. It's more scary. What could happen seems scarier than the benefit of what could come. So I was very hesitant, and my sister was like, just go ahead and just tell them. And so I was like, okay, I guess. And I told them, and that night we were placed into the foster care system. That day was like such a crazy day. It had been a long time. Like days probably since we'd eaten like a substantial meal, maybe even any meal. Maybe we had like dry cereal or just something, like, I don't know, but we weren't eating. And we spent that entire day just like so excited to go somewhere that was gonna let us eat. 1 second. So, okay, back to the story. We were just really excited to go somewhere where food wasn't like an issue, and just like, we were also terrified at one point. I remember my sister saying to the caseworker, like, but what if somebody wants to take us? Because she thought we were going to an orphanage and not a foster home, which I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know what to expect either. And then by the end of the night, the best person that ever entered my life, she came into the office, and she was our new foster mom, and her name was Dee. You'll hear about her, I'm sure, quite a bit throughout this series. You'll understand a little bit more in just a little bit. Dee Dee picked us up, and she was honestly like a literal angel. Like, I still don't think I've met someone that is just like as amazing as her, like as good at parenting and just being gentle as she was. And I think a big part of that was because she knew like what we'd experienced, but I also just think she was naturally destined to be like a good mom. So my first initial experience with the foster care system was amazing because of Dee Dee. She was an angel. She took us shopping that first night, and they gave her like a voucher, and because we had no clothes with us, and they gave her a voucher for like maybe $200 or something for each of us. And when I tell you guys, like, we went on a shopping spree that night, it was actually insane. She didn't even let us know that there was a limit. She was just like, get whatever you want, and you know, like, you need clothes. Not only that, she took us to a hair store. Like, she wanted to learn how to do our hair. She was a white woman, and she was like, I wanna make sure you guys are looking your best. It was just a completely different experience than either of us than I've ever experienced. So it was just, that was amazing. By like the middle of living with Dee Dee, I decided that like I knew I didn't want to go back to my biological family. I was obviously traumatized, and it wasn't a good option for me. I still stand on that. I'm really glad I made the decision I did. And so in that period of time, Dee Dee decided that she was going to adopt me. We were gonna do like a different program for foster kids. We were gonna work through that and then work our way to adoption. And that was like really, really exciting. And during this time, I was like a very traumatized girl, regardless. Like, even though I was being, we burnt one. Even though I was being treated better than like I ever had, I still had a lot of trauma. Like, obviously, I was still really processing a lot of things, processing things with my mom, just a lot of stuff. There was a lot going on during that time. And so I was in and out of like mental hospitals quite a lot during that time. And Dee Dee was always there. It was kind of crazy. Like, she would drive hours to come see me in a hospital that I was gonna leave in less than a week, you know? Just like stuff like that. And to kind of give you an explanation of why that is important to me, I was in a residential facility prior to being with Dee Dee, and I had cried to my biological family numerous times, like, please come visit me. And they would always tell me that they were coming to visit me. I didn't get a visit. I was probably there in total, like in residentials, a year and a half. And during a year and a half to 2 years, I didn't get a single visit, even though they were telling me sometimes that they were coming. And so I was like sitting there watching everybody else go to their visitations and like waiting for my parents to show up, and they didn't. But Dee Dee was like a person that always, she showed up even if it was like out of the way for her, because she really saw me like I was her child in a way that like I'd never experienced before. I was like, oh my God, this is what moms do, bro. That's crazy. Unfortunately, Dee Dee passed away a little bit before our adoption process was fully done. And so that kind of like really changed I'm sorry, I did not mean to cry right now, but that definitely changed everything in my life, kind of. I went to another foster home after that. Well, immediately after that, I went to a residential because I was crazy at that point, you know. I felt like my mom passed away. And so they sent me to a residential facility. And then after that, I was sent to a new foster home. And the new foster home, I'm gonna wipe my eyes really quick. I'll come back to the new foster home story in a second. But before I do that, rest in peace, Dee Dee. We fucking love you and miss you a lot. So, after I went to the residential facility, I went to another foster home. And this is gonna be a little dicey for me to talk about because some of them do follow me. So, but I mean, honestly, it's my experience. So I saw this thing that was like, if you don't want people to talk poorly about you, then you shouldn't do things so that people talk poorly about you. And I stand on that. So my second foster home was good monetarily. And I think that that was like a big part of what they kind of prided themselves on in being foster parents, was the fact that they had money. I'm not gonna go into the fact that a big reason that they probably had a lot of money is because they were foster parents, but I digress. But whenever I first went to live with them, they were really nice, really sweet. And they weren't like these awful monsters. I'm not like totally dishing on this family. There were good moments and obviously like good experiences that I had there. But overall, that was a very traumatic experience. It was very obvious. I was a teenager that really wanted a mom. I'm an adult that really wants a mom. Like sometimes I still struggle with that, but as a teenager, that was really hard for me. And there were some things that like were really heavy that really kind of amplified that desire to have a mother figure for me, obviously with Dee Dee and all of that stuff. And so the issue that I had with that foster home was that it was glaringly obvious that I was not their child. While it was like telling you that Dee Dee like made every effort to come visit and just treat me like I was her daughter, this family did have biological kids. Well, like biological children that like lived in the house, and just some of the things that were done in that scenario were really poor. And this is where I do think like some foster parents like kind of deserve to get a bad rep, because I do hear a lot of stuff that's like, oh my God, guys, the pan hasn't even been on the stove. But anyways, you do hear a lot of people that are like, oh my God, foster care is this big bad place. Most of the time I do want to say like, it's not, because I had my experience. My first experience was so wonderful for me. But there were times that I was like very heavily body shamed in that house. Like I would want to wear a crop top and I would be told like, no, you can't wear that, or no, you need the pants that are like up to your belly button. And then thinner biological children could wear whatever they wanted, like anything. It didn't matter. And so It was literally just a matter of like how my body was shaped. And so I thought that that was very weird, but I told you that like Dee Dee, one of the big things for us was like that we got to eat regular, like it was just regularly. And I'm not saying this family starved me, but I'm gonna give you a few examples and you guys can tell me in the comments if you think it's odd, because a lot of them I think are quite odd. I was only allowed to eat one Pop-Tart out of the packet. Like, open a packet of Pop-Tarts, take one Pop-Tart out and put the other Pop-Tart back in the box. And that was my breakfast. Like, if I didn't want the Pop-Tart, I was fucked. Craziness. I would come home from school sometimes and be like, I'm really hungry, like I want something, and I'd get like, well, make a half of a peanut butter and jelly. The biological child would come home and say, I'm hungry, and wouldn't say she's hungry, but just go make an entire pasta side and eat the entire thing herself. And I'd be like, what? Why does she get to eat anything in the house and I can't? And they'd be like, oh, because she's cheerleading. And I was like, I'm cheerleading. Like, I was a cheerleader too. There was just some weird things, just some weird moments. And so it's like my experience is so like iffy. There are also times, listen, this is another one. If you guys are watching this, you know who I'm talking about. If you guys are watching this and you're like hating, I really don't care. Sorry. I guess. Anyways, this one thing like actually really bothered me. And I will say, I was really bad at this house. I was mean, but I was mean because of how I was treated. Like, I was able to be like little kids were able to like disrespect me, which is fucking nuts. Like, imagine being a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, already have hormones going through you, your dad beat the fuck out of you, your mom doesn't want you, and then this little girl is next to you, literally talking about how nobody wants you. I was like, yeah. Okay, so there was like issues like that, but then I got my first job there, and I would like get a little angry, and suddenly I'm not allowed to go to work. I wouldn't get a ride to work. And like when I tell y'all I spazzed out, like actually that happened one time because I said something along the lines of, how does it make sense for you to make money off of me and I can't go and make my own money? Where's that? Enough said. That happened one time. Another time they told me that I had a problem with slamming my doors. Like I said, I was a bad teenager. I personally believe there are methods to working with bad teenager, and these ones were not the good ones. But I was smart because like nobody was about to do me crazy. One time I was slamming my door too much. They took my door off the hinges. I texted my caseworker. I was like, no. They took my door off my hinges. My door was back on my hinges. I had a working operating door the next day. Because what are you talking about? No, we're not doing that. Like, I can't have a door. That's such an invasion of privacy. That's so weird and strange. I really, really hope that if you guys have kids that are slamming their doors, maybe try modeling some better reactions to things and not like taking away their privacy. I guarantee you that's not gonna help. That's not gonna do what you're hoping it does. I don't even understand how someone could think that that's helpful, but I digress. So yeah, that was that experience at that foster home. Now, before I give my final little spiel about this, we're gonna go ahead and finish up the soup. So I roasted a bunch of tomatoes. Let me show you. So this is tomatoes, onions, roasted garlic, and then there's some olive oil and some balsamic vinegar on there. And then obviously seasoned salt, pepper, garlic powder, a little bit of cayenne. I put all of that stuff on there. I put it all in another clip, so you'll see that. And it'll look really cool, guys. Like, Not to toot my camera girl's horn or anything, but she's eating it up. But so yeah, all the veggies, I'm about to put them all into my blender and then blend it up, and then we'll get to the next step. We're almost finished here. And actually, before we do that, I'm gonna do my appetizer really quick, which might surprise you guys, but I'm not super hungry today, which is why grilled cheese and tomato soup is such a good option. It's so easy. So I'm just having tomatoes to like kind of maybe put something on my stomach so that this meal is enjoyable. And that's my appetizer, tomatoes. And to all you haters out there that are like, she never eats vegetables, eat a salad. I'm having tomatoes as my appetizer, bitch. I don't give a fuck. Anyways, let's get all of this stuff in here. Also, let me tell you guys something, one sec. If you guys have watched any of like my recent cooking videos, like the one with the meatloaf or the one with the sub, I was looking for tongs in both of those videos, and they were in my little tote of stuff that I needed. The entire time they were there. So cool. We used other stuff and we didn't need to, but that's just a little thing before I chuck all of this shit in here. The tomatoes are super mushy. Oh, I didn't even tell you. I roasted them in the oven on 425 for like an hour, maybe like an hour and 20 minutes, 15, I don't know. But a little over an hour. And now they're like all soggy, and that's exactly what you want. And they smell really good, like very roasty and toasty. Now, back into foster care. No, not back into foster care. That's like that's a nightmare to me. Sometimes I actually do have nightmares about that. Like I'm a grown up, but I'm in a foster home. Isn't that weird? Why? I don't know. I'm not really like afraid that something like that could ever happen, but it's just so weird that that's something that pops into my subconscious sometimes. Back to the story. I think foster care overall, I think it's very needed. I think at the same time, there are some changes that are very needed, because I do think that there are people that can take advantage of the system. And even if they're not taking advantage of the system, I think that there are people that are maybe making some people's experience a little bit harder than it needs to be, especially like people who are already, they've had such bad experiences already. And I think that's a big factor of why I love Dee Dee so much, because she really like understood that I had a horrible experience. I don't know if maybe she got more of like a warning maybe of like what all I'd experienced, or maybe she just had more empathy in general. But her entire, I think, view in having foster children was just like, these kids have been through so much, and if I'm able to make their lives even like a little bit better, then I want to. Like I was never forced into chores, especially like, and I think a big reason for that was because of like what I told you in the beginning. I was like, that was used as like, not even a punishment, just like that was my existence, was just cleaning up for everybody, cooking for everybody. And she was like the first and only person that didn't force me to do that. Like, and didn't make it something that would make me, get me in trouble. And I think that was like really important, was just the amount of empathy she had for us as girls who had already experienced a lot of negativity. So I do think that there are people that might be enhancing some already traumatized people. And I think there are some ways that just the system in general can do better. For example, I wasn't allowed to learn how to drive as a foster child, and that was because like you might run away or things like that. And I think that stunted me so much. Maybe not like physically stunted me, but I didn't learn how to drive until I was 21 because I was terrified to learn because it took me so long. And then also on top of that, as a foster child or like former foster child, it's not easy to find somebody with a car to help you like learn. I taught myself how to drive. I bought a car. Well, I actually had a friend that gave me like a little bit of she gave me the foundations of my driving. And then I bought a car, and I was like scared to go to the gas station. I think I smoked cigarettes at that point. Ew. But I needed cigarettes really bad, and I needed to go to the gas station. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways. Got in my car, drove to the gas station, and then the friend that gave me the foundation, I called her right after. I did almost get into an accident because I was confused about maybe like a gear or something. I don't know, but I was terrified. But do it scared. I love that saying, do it scared, or do it like, not like do it without knowing how to do it, just do it. And that's a fact, because baby, I wouldn't have ever learned how to drive. Unfortunately, I'm no longer allowed to drive because of my multiple sclerosis. Not because of my multiple sclerosis, but because of one of the symptoms of my multiple sclerosis. I have really bad muscle spasms, and one of the things that like scared me the most when I first got sick with MS was that like I literally almost got into a car accident driving to work one time because my leg like spasmed and I couldn't move it, and like the specific position that I have to put my foot in to drive, I can't do that without it hurting really bad and like not wanting to move out of that position. So I can't drive anymore, but I would have had more time driving around with my friends and being a hot girl if I didn't have to wait until I was fucking 18. All of my other friends got to be hot girls. They got to live their best life. And I was like, I don't know how to do this shit. Sorry, guys. So yeah, that's an issue. I think that there's overall issues in general with the foster care system. Like, a big thing, if you've seen one of my first episodes, a big thing for me is starting like a nonprofit at some point soon, so stay tuned for that. Just to help foster youth or people aging out of foster care to have some foundation to walk on, because it's really hard to turn 18 and have nobody on your back, like nobody on your side. Like there were times when I was in college that I had nowhere to go on Christmas break, so I had to like figure things out to have like a place to go, or like Thanksgiving, or just things in general. It's really sad to be like an adult freshly out of foster care and like you really don't know what's happening. Like on my 18th birthday, I left a residential facility. They gave me like this little apartment to stay in until my semester of college started. And then they let me go buy some groceries and sent me on my way. That was my 18th birthday. And I have this picture. Sometimes I think about sharing it on Instagram, so maybe you guys will see it at some point. It's really fucking sad. Every time I see it, it like actually makes me sad, because it's just this little cupcake. It's just a single cupcake, and I think maybe there's there's one candle on it. And then I had the person at the bakery at like Kroger write 18 on it. So like literally just the saddest picture, the saddest little cupcake, and the caption of it is like happy 18th birthday to me or something. And I think that really is like a very good indicator of what aging out of foster care specifically is like, because I can't imagine, I have a son and I can't imagine, like it actually breaks my heart to think about him having a little sad cupcake on his 18th birthday. Even if it is just a sad little cupcake, but just like alone, that's just his cupcake. That's like the saddest thing ever. Not like, I don't want anyone to pity me, because like I said in the beginning, I'm really like pretty far past it, other than like the really deep rooted stuff. But the stuff I'm talking about now, like literally no baby. But it is sad to like think about. And when I think about just like how much older I am now, I have like a lot more insight into life in general. And I guess I've just seen so many more people turn 18, so I know like the difference. So it's gotten sadder as time has like gone on, as I see like people maybe that are like a little bit younger than me that turned 18, or now I'm seeing like even people like way younger that are turning 18. I'm starting to feel really aged. But yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's such a big difference. And I think that's a thing that it would be really cool to see that change. Just like more communities, more like places that foster kids aren't like just these abandoned, familyless teenagers. They're still teenagers. Like 18 is literally still young. I know people that are my age that still live with their parents, like that have never experienced. And again, this isn't to like pity or anything, but I know people that are basically babied, like at my age, which would be fucking phenomenal. I'm happy that I'm not babied. I am glad that I'm independent. It feels really good. But yeah, people that are still like really coddled at way, way bigger ages. And so like seeing the rates that former foster youth experience homelessness and like drug addiction and things like that, it's really sad to see. Or like college statistics, like less than 3% of foster care, or less than 3% of people who age out of foster care get a college degree of any kind. That's abysmal. Like, it's actually insane. And then you compare it, and it's like maybe like 60-70% of women or girls who age out of the foster care system are single moms. Or maybe not single moms, but are parents when they turn 18. So like that's a very stark difference. I feel like setting some of these kids up for success in college and making them feel a community and having like some family would be beneficial, and I feel like it would be cool to see that for foster youth. And I'm probably gonna do it myself, so if I don't see it anywhere else, you'll see it from me. We're gonna finish the soup up and then we're fucking done. Well, then we'll have dessert, but that's easy too. So I have all the vegetables in here. I'm adding chicken broth, and then I'm gonna add some heavy cream, maybe a little bit more spices, and then we're done. You guys don't have to listen to this, it's gonna get really loud, so bye. That smells insane. It's way too thick though. I'm gonna add a little bit more of the chicken broth, but then I'm gonna add water because I don't want it to get too salty. One day I'll tell you guys my salt story and you'll understand my fear of things being too salty. It's a doozy. It's a crazy one. I have a thing with sink water. I don't even want it in the soup. Hopefully this does it. We'll see. I saw that last little flop. I'm gonna do like the teeniest little bit and blend it one more time. This seems right. I'm really happy with it. It kind of looks like Campbell's. Maybe like a little more orange. And it smells nuts. Like actually fucking insane. I hope I didn't use too much garlic. It smells very garlicky. That's crazy. One sec, weird because it needs something to like make it less acidic. So I just looked through everything I could find and we have maple syrup. That sounds crazy, but I promise you I'm not gonna make this like pancake tomato soup or anything. Just a little bit, just something to take the edge off. I'm actually gonna add like a little bit more salt. So like a little bit more salt, a little more pepper, and then like the tiniest drizzle of this. Just that much for the whole pot. I really hope that worked. I'm terrified, but it's like chopped in here. That worked. And it doesn't taste like maple syrup. I actually think it needs like a little bit more. I hope this isn't where things go bad. And then a little bit of heavy cream. Oh, I know what it's missing. I feel like there's one thing and I feel like it'll make it perfect. Worcestershire sauce. We're gonna like a little teeny tiny bit because it's strong, but I just wanted to have like a little bit of like that, you know, whatever that hand gesture is, that's what I wanted to have. It's perfect. Very garlicky, very heavy on the roasted garlic aspect. But quite tasty. I think it'll be really good with the grilled cheese. I think the cheese will kind of like mellow it out a little bit. I'm turning on the oven for dessert while we taste dinner. I'm putting the sandwiches in the microwave for a second so that I still get a good cheese pull whenever they're done. If that's cheating, I don't care. For dessert, we're doing my personal favorite, like ever, and we're doing it like the super easy way. So if you want to do like a campfire in or a camp night in your living room, you can make this, and it's like the best thing ever. It's freaking wonderful. I'm trying it with something new though, and I'm very intrigued by it. I'll see what you guys think. Oh, we're making s'mores, if you didn't tell by the chocolate and the marshmallows. I'm gonna make 4 of them. Literally all you have to do is open the chocolate no matter how difficult it may be. Jesus, what the fuck? Am I missing something right now? I got the sampler pack, but that was before I remembered that I did something special, so I'm only gonna use the milk chocolate one. Jesus. That was much more work than I anticipated it being. You put like you put the chocolate on the graham cracker. And then I got these salted caramel filled marshmallows. That sounds so good. They smell like regular marshmallows. Whoa, they feel literally heavier than regular marshmallows though. Oh, and I think I see some of the caramel. I definitely think they're a lot stickier than regular marshmallows. Oh my gosh. And I'm also trying to like not squish them, so it's extra difficult because they're all like stuck. Oh yeah, you can literally see the caramel on the top of that one. This may potentially make a mess because normally I do it with regular ones. But we'll see. And then you literally just pop them in the broiler, but I'm not gonna do that yet because yesterday I was burning too many things. I think I maybe only burnt one thing, but that's enough for me. Okay. That's not ready yet. Okay, the sandwich is done. Let's see if it has a pretty cheese pool. The way it's cutting makes me believe it is gonna have a pretty cheese pool, so let's see. Oh wait. I think that was probably pretty good. Oh, it's still going. I'm happy with that. That was good. I hope it looks good on the camera. Let's get the soup. It's like orange, but it's also pretty. I think it's gonna be good. It really smells so strong. While I'm trying it, now I'm gonna put these in the oven. It does not take long. Okay. Oh. Wait, let's do another cheese pool because it's starting, it did some more things. Wait. That one's nice. I just know it. Okay, let's go for it. Wow. That's phenomenal. I did it again. I do it every time, guys. And I was right, the cheese like tones down the soup just enough. It's very good. It's really ooey gooey. And also the mozzarella cheese on it makes it like a little bit squeaky. And that with the tomato soup is a really good combination. I'm really happy with that. It is very rich, so I'm gonna eat a couple of these to like tone it down, because wow, it's very, very like, it's really cheesy. Okay, the dessert is ready to go. See, I told you it's like super quick. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of smoke and they're not even that burnt. Oh. See guys, I'm really fucking up. I'm always doing this. I burned stuff. I burned the graham crackers. Because you're not supposed to put the graham crackers in with it. And I forgot to say that and do it. So do as I say, not as I do. That smells atrocious. Just cut it out. Yeah. Aw, poor little graham crackers. I've never even seen them that color. Thankfully, that's not, you should never see them that color. Okay. Well, that said, it's okay. Because they are graham crackers. It's not like I freaking made them homemade, so I'm gonna take 2 new ones. The marshmallows are supposed to be burnt. They're not supposed to usually fall off the side, but genuinely, I'm not blaming that on me because they're filled with caramel. I didn't know which way you're supposed to put them. I don't know if you caught that, but that is beautiful. Holy shit. That's like what marshmallow fluff dreams of being. That's the one I'm gonna have. That one's a little sad. This one's definitely gonna be sad as well. I'm gonna let them cool a little bit and then they'll like fix and be okay. Now this one's mine. The chocolate literally is like falling off the side. This is gonna be hot as balls, as am I. I'm fucking sweating right now, so. Twins. I'm gonna do the roasty side. Roasty side. Wait. That's really hard. Oh my God, it's dripping. Okay. Well, let's go. We're in dangerous territory. That's wonderful. I'm gonna have a really rough time getting off my lips. But it's really good. And honestly, I think like the burntness of the corner of the graham cracker is everything. This one's nothing. Look at that. It looks like charcoal. If you're making these at home, leave the other graham cracker off. I forgot to say that. This was all really good. I'm really happy with today's meal. It's giving very much childhood meal. Like s'mores, grilled cheese and tomato soup, random cut up tomatoes. That's pretty childhoodish. I don't know. Maybe your grandma's making soup or something and you take her tomatoes. But anyways, thank you guys for watching Dysfunctional Kitchen. I hope you had as much fun burning graham crackers with me as I had doing it. And if you want to make that soup, you should. It's very good. The sandwiches are really good too, but that's super simple. I hope you already know how to make grilled cheese. Talk to you next time.